I realized something was terribly wrong the moment I opened the dusty envelope hidden beneath my aunt's old piano. Inside it was a letter and a will. The first line wasn't a greeting, it was a warning. Evelyn, if you're reading this, then promise me one thing. Do not trust your parents. My hands went numb. My aunt had always been the gentle one, the one who protected everyone. So why would her last message be a warning against my own family? Before I explain everything, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss stories like this. My name is Evelyn Marlowe, and this entire nightmare began 3 months after my aunt, Margaret, passed away. She didn't have children of her own, but she treated me like the daughter she never had. Growing up, she'd always tell me, "Someday there are things you need to know." I used to laugh it off. I didn't think she meant anything serious. Now I understood she'd been trying to prepare me. My parents insisted Aunt Margaret didn't leave anything behind. No will, no assets, no secrets, they said. They cleared her house in less than 2 days and shut the doors forever. They told me not to go there, not to dig things up, not to invite trouble. But that warning was exactly what pushed me to return. One evening, I took Baxter, my stubborn but loyal dog, and drove to her house. Dust covered everything. The air felt heavy, as if the walls were holding their breath. I walked into the living room, remembering how she used to play the piano every evening. When I opened its lid, a sealed yellow envelope was taped underneath. My aunt's handwriting covered the front. To Evelyn, only you. My heart cracked. I tore it open carefully. Inside was her will and a handwritten note. If anything happens to me, don't accept the story they tell you. I sat on the dusty floor as I read every sentence. My aunt didn't want my parents to be responsible for handling her estate. In fact, she didn't want them anywhere near it. The will left everything to me, her property, her savings, and a key to room 3 at a storage facility. At the very end, she added, "Your parents must never get access to these. Protect yourself, Evelyn." My hands trembled. My parents? The people who raised me? Why would she warn me against them? I drove home in silence, gripping the envelope like it was alive. The moment I walked in, my mom looked up sharply. "Where were you?" she asked. "Out," I replied. She glanced at my hands. "What's that?" "Nothing." Her eyes narrowed, not in concern, but in suspicion. I had never seen her look at me that way before. It chilled me. That night, I hid the envelope under a loose floorboard in my room. Baxter slept by the door like he was guarding me. In the morning, everything shifted. My dad knocked on my door, unusually gentle. "Sweetheart, your mother said you went to your aunt's house yesterday. That wasn't wise." "Why?" I asked. He paused. "It's not good to hold on to the past." But something in his tone felt wrong, like he was choosing every word carefully. Later that evening, I overheard my parents whispering in the kitchen. "We need to find it before she does," my mom said. My dad responded, "Then make sure she doesn't go back." Baxter growled beside me, as if confirming what I felt. Danger. I knew what I had to do next. The next morning, I drove to the storage facility listed in the will. Room 3 was small, dusty, and cold. Inside were 3 boxes, each labeled with dates. I opened the first one. My aunt had kept everything: documents, letters, receipts, photos, and a thick folder titled "The Marlowe Fund Investigation." My heartbeat hammered as I opened it. Inside was a timeline describing how my parents had been using Aunt Margaret's savings for years. Transfers, withdrawals, unexplained expenses. She had discovered everything but didn't confront them directly. Instead, she documented every movement, every signature, every transaction. But the last page was the one that made me feel like the ground had tilted under my feet. If anything happens to me suddenly, it won't be an accident. I sat there cold all the way down to my bones. I didn't know what to believe anymore. My parents were strict, distant sometimes, but dangerous? Could they really? No, I didn't want to think it. But Aunt Margaret believed it. I spent hours reading through her notes. Everything pointed to one truth. She'd uncovered a financial scheme my parents had been involved in for years, using her as the source. When she tried to cut them off, everything spiraled. By the time I drove home, the sun had set and my mind was spiraling. My parents were waiting in the living room. My mom spoke first. "Evelyn, we need to talk." I clutched my bag tighter. "About what?" She said, "About Margaret and the lies she told you." "I don't think she lied," I replied quietly. They exchanged a tense glance. Then my dad stood up slowly. "We know where you went today." My heartbeat stopped. "You shouldn't have done that," he continued. He reached out, not to comfort, but as if expecting me to hand something over. I stepped back. "Give us the envelope, Evelyn," my mom said. I felt a cold shock. "How do you know about it?" Silence. My breath turned shallow. Baxter stepped between us, growling. My parents froze. They weren't surprised by the growling. They weren't scared of losing me emotionally. They were scared I had proof. I realized then just how deeply my parents had been involved, how my aunt must have tried to protect me, how she must have known her warning could save my life someday. I didn't hand them anything. I walked out the front door, Baxter beside me, and drove straight to the authorities with my aunt's files. The investigation that followed confirmed everything she warned me about. My aunt hadn't been paranoid. She was right. My parents had been planning to keep everything hidden, and they were terrified of my aunt's will reaching me. I lost the family I thought I had, but I gained the truth I desperately needed. And every time I read her final words, I hear her voice again. "Protect yourself, Evelyn." And I finally understand why she begged me not to trust them.